what's up, everybody? My name is Chris. Alongside me is Brianna.
Hi, guys.
What's up?
Finally see us. Yay.
Hopefully. So we're going to be recording video. We'll throw up the least part of it, hopefully all of it, depending on how this goes. Which reminds me, I should probably check to see if we're still recording. So this is how professional we are. So why don't you talk, Brianna, and tell them how your quarantine's going.
So we've been in our pajamas for 90% of the time. I've been keeping myself entertained with our child because now apparently we're homeschooling teachers. So that's been a lot, with the 6-year-old. We love her, but I don't know about you, but I'm definitely not a teacher.
No, and we are recording video, at least for now, so that's good. And everybody got to see my sexy pink shirt, so that's good. Yeah, I'm not used to homeschooling. It's weird.
And Chester.
Kids are annoying. Fucking annoying. And we only have one.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine.
That's the thing. I feel like people don't realize, 2, 3 kids, you're always feeling bad for them. But when you're an only child, you get all of that playtime with your parents. You ask them to play with you. There's no other kid. You can't, me and my brother, my mom would just be like, oh, go play with your brother, and then, but for us, so it's like a 24/7. If it's not you, it's me, and we're a pretty good tag team because it's there's been times where I'm like, please let me sleep in, so he'll let me sleep in, and then I'll be like, go take a nap, and we kind of, take turns, and so it's been working out, and we've been keeping her busy. We've got so many fun little science experiments and activities for her to do, but it's still, it's a lot. The days are going by pretty fast because it's oh my God.
Yeah, and I can actually help now because got some breaking news on my end. I've actually furloughed from the pizza pushers, so hence that I don't really drink, but now all of a sudden I'm a louse. I don't do this, but
cheers to that.
Here's to that. This is what it's reduced to. But yeah. So it's been a trip for sure. I don't know.
I have to ask you a question, a very serious question.
Oh no. Yes, I am.
How are you enjoying your quarantine time with me?
I am. Well, it's been a blast. It's been fun. I thought I get the itch every once in a while. I get a little antsy.
A little.
Yeah.
Was it yesterday? Was the day you actually stayed home all day? Wait, you went out somewhere? Or did you go pick up some medicine or something?
I don't know.
I don't think it's been 2 weeks.
Has it been 2 weeks? It's been all of a sudden.
It'll be 2 weeks on Saturday.
That's the crazy thing about this whole thing. I mean, it went 2 weeks ago. It was we're all worried about the coronavirus thing because we live in California, so everybody was kind of worried about it because it's one of those states, along with New York and Washington, that was kind of ramping up the number of confirmed cases. But it went from 2 weeks ago, we're worried about it, we're taking social distancing seriously, understand all the events are canceled and stuff like that. It's probably the right move. To everything's now shut down, everything, and it's not surprising considering how many tests are not out there. I mean, that it just kind of blew up. Now all of a sudden it's it's everywhere. I saw one report that it might be upwards of 245,000 unconfirmed cases, which is a lot. I would go on the lower end of that, but that's...
Well, I think it's what we were talking about earlier, that we probably could have had it within the last couple months, because this has been... It started when we got wind of it started in China in December? So, I mean, think about all the people that had been traveling there for business, on and off, just visiting too. So definitely, I mean, there are chances. It's now it's just getting worse, but there are chances that we had early outbreaks.
Well, especially since we live, California is one of those hubs where a lot of people, there's a ton of industries, so there's a lot of people coming in and out of that region, and obviously it spread to neighboring countries and into Europe and stuff, and there's all kinds of people coming all the way from Europe and Asian countries and all over the place to California because there's a lot of commerce, there's a lot of business, especially up north, the Bay Area with the explosion of tech industries. There's a lot of business, so it's not surprising,
Yeah, it's been rough to see, you know, like personally, you know, me being a hairstylist where I have to have direct contact with my clients, you know, it's like I've always dreamed about being a hairstylist, you know, since I was, you know, junior high, high school. And so for me not to be able to connect that artistic ability and to make somebody feel beautiful about themselves, and then just seeing my customers, like they come in so often, like we know each other so personally, they're my dear friends, and it's been hard on me. So for my outlet, I've just been doing hair and makeup videos and posting them just so I feel like we're still kind of connected. And it's been rough, you know, selfishly, but you know, the bigger picture is the people that are dying from this disease, and the people, you know, like we all just need to come together. We got to stay inside. I know we get antsy, I know it's rough, but we got to do this for humanity, you know. And so I can't stress that enough, you know.
Well, even on the lower end, like they say that, you know, I think I heard somewhere 3.4% was the mortality rate on this disease. Lower, higher, give or take, you know, a few percentage points. That's a lot. I mean, we live in just imagine, obviously there's a theory that we'll get to a point if we just all went out, like say we all just said, screw this, safer at home, stay at home, shelter in place, all that stuff, we would get to a point where it'd be herd immunity, where, you know, enough people would have already had it and got over it and stuff like that it wouldn't really spread. But say, you know, we live in a country of 330 million, give or take. You know, 3% of that, even if it's like 2/3 of the population gets sick, you know, 1/3 is spared because of this whole herd immunity thing. 3% of 2/3 of 330 million is a lot of people dead. That's a lot. That's a ton. So,
and I think people just aren't fathoming that this is our existence today. So people aren't looking at it that realistically. And I totally get it. I totally understand why. Like sometimes I'm sitting here, you know, being the teacher to our child, and I'm like, is this really our life right now? Is this really happening? And you know, I just kind of like have to breathe and not like keep myself occupied.
Breathe.
You know, you have to constantly be keeping yourself occupied, or else, I mean, you know, I'm sure the suicide rate has gone up. Like this is like serious. So that's why it's even more important for us to love each other and come together, you know, and help each other. It's so important right now.
Yeah, you know, love each other from a distance. You know, it's important to, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's
just
tough.
Like the extraterrestrials too. They love us from a distance.
It's got to be. I can't even. We'll get into the subject, but I can't even imagine having, because at this point they're directing people. If you have a loved one who gets sick and gets to the point where they have to be hospitalized, they say don't visit, and just to have that.
Yeah, I read that today that they're enforcing, unless like you have a child under the age of 18, you're not allowed to go. Visitors aren't allowed to go into the hospital. And I mean, I understand. It sucks, but it makes sense. Like,
yeah,
you know,
it completely makes sense, especially since now all these hospitals are, especially if you have coronavirus, you know, you're more than likely in an area that is pretty prevalent with it at this point. There's a decent amount of confirmed cases. So that hospital is going to be wrapped full of coronavirus patients. So, you know, it's one of those things that you're more than likely going to get it, and then you're going to spread it to a bunch of other people. So everybody, if, you know, I can't encourage enough, if you are, you know, anywhere, you know, at this point in the globe, it's anywhere. Like, it's all over the place. In India, I saw that they were doing 21-day lockdown. UK's on a lockdown.
India, because I know
a little bit, yeah, and they're doing they're essentially, India said we're shutting it down for 21 days, which is
good.
You know, it's a thing. Yeah. So you know, obviously, you know, if you don't need to go out, don't go out. Yeah. You know, social distance, all that stuff. It's better to be safe. You know,
Thank you to our health physicians, our nurses. Like, what would we do?
Working those hours, yeah, 100%.
Oh my God, like lifesavers, legit, like literally. So
100%. So what are we going to be talking about? Getting into non-pandemic stuff.
Oh gosh. So this time around, we're going back into our extraterrestrials because I can't get enough. Just can't get enough. So we wanted to do Roswell, and there's been a lot of
Granddaddy of
conspiracy-
them all. I would say the granddaddy, because that's what. How many people? The entry. I know that people who are believers and stuff. We've gotten into this before. We've gotten into this argument many a times. But the people who are believers think that Egypt and Sumeria and all these places were the epicenter.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of fascination with the whole fascination with UFOs specifically, the flying saucer thing, and all that happened around this time. I saw that when I was looking all this stuff up, it was more than 1947, which is when Roswell happened, which is what we're going to be talking about.
It was the year of 1947.
Yeah, it was the year of 1947 in New Mexico. There was over 300 sightings of flying saucers. So this was the origin of...
In that year, there was, over, like, that's wild to me.
Yeah, so it was really, like, Roswell is really the origination of the fascination with aliens, because your homeboy, what's his name?
Giorgio?
No, not Giorgio. Not the love of my life. I love you, Giorgio. Happy birthday. Happy belated birthday, by the way.
Oh, we
How do I know it's his birthday?
Is his birthday today?
It was like a few days ago. This is the world I live in now. I'm so sad about it. This sucks.
Awesome.
This sucks so bad.
You should have styled your hair. You should let me style your
I
hair.
actually really like Giorgio. He seemed super nice when I met him. He's a
He
cute.
was so
but-
fucking sweet.
Yeah, he's super nice. I'd hang out with
He
Giorgio.
was so excited
Hey, Giorgio,
that
if you're
our
listening.
6-year-old was there.
Debate me, Giorgio. I love you. I think, yeah. Anyways,
Yeah, go back to
What-
your
what's
like,
it-
this is the origin of alien contact, because it hasn't been going on for thousands and maybe millions of years prior to this.
what? I don't know what that voice is. I don't know what's coming
Just
from.
that.
And it
Just
confuses
keep
me.
going.
And go sorry. Probably because I don't drink and this is happening. So, who's the homie who wrote Chariot of the Gods?
Oh, I forget his name. Don't put me on the spot.
From something.
That's Giorgio's buddy.
Yeah, Giorgio's buddy.
Yeah,
He wrote that in the 60s, 70s, 80s, something like that.
yeah. It was a big time.
Before that, like, that's what I'm saying. He's the one who kind of blossomed this whole, like, aliens have been among us for eons, whatever.
He really opened people's eyes to, like, me. Like, now when I look at old Sumerian photos and things like that, like, I look for, like, I can point out, like, something that's extraterrestrial,
Like
and
that.
it's because of him, definitely.
But so he wrote that later on, but the real kind of the origin of, like, the fascination and the kind of the obsession with alien existence and UFOs and all that was this. I mean, Roswell really peaked. That's a lot of people's entry drug. That's probably the most famous alien UFO sighting, at least, crash site and all that stuff.
Yeah,
Still today, that's probably the most famous. It sprung all this fascination. It's the most famous alien sighting, UFO sightings in a year full of UFO sightings. It sprung all these other UFO sightings. So for me, it's like the granddaddy of UFO sightings, really, because
I'm curious what was going on in 1947 that really, for all people that saw all those sightings, like, I want to know, like, the story behind it, and they say, like, there's over, like, 600, like, eyewitnesses that also had witnessed the Roswell crash.
we tally that number up,
Happened
though.
in like Foster Ranch, but I want to know. I've, like, looked up pictures and stuff of the live evidence, the people that really had found the bodies,
So let's get
That's what's fucking crazy.
into the kind of the where and when. So Roswell, so the year was 1947 again. It happened in the summer, June 1947, and
Foster Ranch.
in Foster Ranch, which is it's in Lincoln County, which is just so everybody says Roswell when they talk about this UFO, supposed UFO sighting.